Frank Holmes, CEO of U.S. Global Investors and Executive Chairman of HIVE, is back with us to talk all things gold, cryptos, and crypto mining. Welcome back, Frank. We have a very important announcement to make. July 1st, and you are going to be listing on the NASDAQ today.
That's correct. And it's a big day, and it's Canada Day, but really what's much more relevant in capital markets is the U.S. It's interesting talking to NASDAQ. They said they've had over 500 listings this year. A lot of the streamlining of regulations brought in by the previous administration has been a big boom to the stock market. And they've had a record number of Canadian companies applying to be listed here on NASDAQ. So I'm thrilled about it for the HIVE shareholders. They've been asking and requesting and demanding to get listed on a much bigger, more viable stock exchange. So that's what we're doing.
Okay. And tell us about your company's plans. Are you expanding your operations? Are you raising capital? What are your plans for the next year or two?
Well, as you know, we made two major acquisitions during COVID. First was in Quebec, not too far from you, in La Chute, for 30 megawatts of energy. And our real big strategic move was in New Brunswick, acquiring GPU1. So we basically have a great management team coming on board, and we have 50 megawatts going to 70 megawatts in New Brunswick. And that's all green energy. You know, HIVE was the first public company in blockchain crypto mining. And we always had, as a fund manager, an ESG strategy, a green strategy, and we mine green, clean coins, and we hodl them. So I'm thrilled about the fact that now we're seeing a scramble by the peers of all of a sudden running around to make sure that they have a stronger green footprint because Elon Musk tagged them all as using too much coal. But the real culprits in this world of bad energy is China. But China's shutting it down. And there's a whole thesis of why China is shutting down crypto, because they don't want competition. They're coming up with their own digital currency. And the G7 countries are way behind in their initiatives to fast track coming up with their own digital type of money. So the Chinese are also big buyers of gold. And we've talked about this for years now, of the tectonic plate shift of gold leaving North America, going to Switzerland and going to China. This continues. China continues to be the largest gold producer and net buyer. And they need to have gold to have the confidence of the global trade behind a digital currency. People just don't trust the Chinese. They don't trust the yuan. But if it's backed by gold, then there's a sort of confidence, a new trust factor. So these are the shifts we're seeing, and crypto mining is now shifting to North America and the Scandinavian Nordic countries. This is very significant, and I think you're going to see the pools that are involved. They call them pools for mining, crypto mining. Better accounting standards is coming to North America. So there is a major transition taking place, and now the companies that are public in crypto mining in North America are really consumed with a very strong ESG strategy. I'm thrilled that HIVE has always been that thought leader and is most advanced, and we only have green energy. I've done nothing in Texas because it's not pure green. And I live in Texas.
Yeah. Let's talk about central bank digital currencies. You brought that up. Yeah, you're right. The thesis is that they don't want alternative currencies like Bitcoin to compete with what they're coming out with. Put it this way, Frank, if you're an investor, which you are, would you buy Fed coin, or the Chinese coin, or the Brit coin, the Bank of England's coming out with their own, or the ECB coin? Would you consider buying any of these?
Well, if they're going to be used for trade, just like the stable coin is, then yes, I would. What I'm thrilled about, David, is the Canadian algorithm of the smart contract called Ethereum on the Ethereum platform, mining Ether. It is the applications of the blockchain. And it has many more scientists, many more engineers and coders that are involved in the ecosystem of Ethereum. HIVE Blockchain is their only company mining Ethereum on a grand scale. And we're going to expand that footprint. And we're going to upgrade all of our computer systems so that when we believe that proof of work is going to continue for the next 2 to 3 years before proof of stake really takes over. So we think Ethereum is going to trade much higher. And so we're very bullish because it's the backbone for DeFi, for music, for sports. It's the backbone for NFTs. It's the backbone for stablecoins. So as these other apps grow, the demand and need for Ethereum grows. And I really am happy that this is how HIVE is positioned to not only mine Bitcoin and put it over here as a long-term asset, we are the serious players in the Ethereum space.
Do you think Ethereum could overtake Bitcoin in market cap one day? Investors want to know. It's a common question I get asked.
Yes, because it has the apps, it has the growth potential, and then as they grow, the need and the demand for Ethereum grows. We've not put our coins up when Ethereum 2.0 came in December because we believe that Ethereum 2.0 is the first initiatives are only going to suck up supply. Metcalfe's law says that if you limit supply and demand grows, it grows exponentially. So that's what we've seen the past year with Bitcoin. The supply every 10 minutes is halved from the previous 4 years, and it's going to have in 3 years from now. And that means there's going to be tighter restrictions of supply. It's capped at 21 million coins for Bitcoin, and demand is growing. PayPal allows you to buy fractions of it. And so what we're seeing is a clear sea change in the sort of global decentralized mechanism for alternative asset classes.
Right. Tell us about Ethereum 2.0. You brought that up. I've been, reading about it. For the viewers who might not be familiar, can you give us an overview and when we might expect the changes in the protocol and the new layers we might be getting?
Well, it's more expensive when you do mining. The validation process, as you know, it uses energy and it uses expensive hardware and software. So the idea was to just use nothing but software, but the risk is it gets hacked. And so that's always been the great concern of going to proof of stake. And so this proof of work, which we do, we believe based on our research, our intelligence, it's going to be around for the next several years. So it's not going to vaporize. But one of the other interesting parts we're looking at is high performance computing. If you see Amazon and Wall Street Journal just covered a story that they're scrambling to get green energy themselves, but they're mega players and the cost, if you want to go and use for Amazon's cloud service using AI, it's more profitable than crypto mining. It's very expensive, David. So us having the expertise in mining Ethereum and using GPU chips gives us the strategic ability to pivot when proof of stake actually becomes much more dominant, and that all of a sudden we'll be in high performance computing and data centers. And our goal is to have small data centers around the world using only green energy.
I was reading articles about quantum computers being a threat to cryptocurrencies, and you're a miner. You probably have addressed this already. This is an article from CNBC. I'm going to read the first paragraph here. It says, within a decade, Frank, quantum computing is expected to be able to hack into cell phones, bank accounts, email addresses, and Bitcoin wallets. So the concern is that down the line we'll have computers fast enough, several million times faster than what we have now, that can break codes in a much more efficient and faster pace, and that could be a serious threat to wallets. What are cryptographers doing right now to combat this? Do you know?
I think you can't get consumed with that long-term vision worry. Just like Justin Trudeau said that get ready for all these lockdowns because global climate change is taking place, and he's going to lock down every citizen and put curfews on everyone if he gets his way, because this is conditioning and training for Canadians. Come on, please. This is such a long negative narrative. Things are evolving. Whoever knew in 1995, that Netscape and AOL were the leaders in the internet, and all of a sudden they're vaporized. So we don't know. The issue for HIVE is, are we sensitive enough? Are we agile enough to be able to pivot and position ourselves as blockchain, basically the second major accounting breakthrough? Digital accounting is blockchain. And there's been no major accounting breakthrough since the 14th century when you had double entry accounting. So blockchain changes all of this. And so who's going to be the winner? I don't know. All I know is that I've got to stay agile. I've got to be able to pivot quickly. HIVE has a great cash position on its balance sheet. HIVE has got huge cash flow. HIVE is going to triple its revenue and its cash flow over the next 12 months. So we're in a great position. And I'm thrilled about getting listed on NASDAQ.
Well, as you know, the Chinese party has just shut down 90% of their mining capacity in the country. What's going to happen to the mining industry, Frank? Where are these
Well,
miners going to go?
so what happens with that is twofold benefits.
Yeah.
One is getting equipment. It's been nothing but horrific delays and disappointments in getting your mining equipment from China because they've been selling internally, and it's easier to sell stuff internally than externally. Now there's hundreds of thousands of machines, hundreds of thousands looking for 2 gigawatts of energy. I mean, it's big numbers. It's gone. It has to be sold. So now they're looking for homes. Prices are falling. Two, very significant to us, is there's less players. If they can't mine, that means there's more opportunity for bigger gross profit margins. So what they call the difficulty of hashing, that difficulty is going to fall another 30% in the next week. So it's very beneficial to us. So yes, crypto's come down, but our profit margins are actually maintaining themselves because this difficulty of mine, there's no competition now.
Right. Right.
And what happened to the Chinese is they burnt bridges in 2018 winter because they just got up and bolted out and left big electrical bills in Sweden, I believe also in Quebec. They left it in Iceland. So no one wants them. They're trying to cut deals, etc. Nobody says, no, we won't deal with you because it's tragic what you did and you left us with all these electrical bills.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they've tried to ban things left and right before. This time it seems a little more serious. But you're right. I mean they've it opens up when one door closes, Frank, another one opens. Let's talk about your views on Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we'll wrap up there. You mentioned earlier that Ethereum could overtake Bitcoin in market cap one day. Some people agree with you. Now, what do you think about the price movement? People are concerned about the price. It's been stalling for both coins over the last couple of months. Do you think Ethereum could overtake Bitcoin in growth over the next 12 months, 18 months? What's your view?
I think it's going to take probably 2 to 3 years if for that to occur. Even though it's far outperformed in the past year, Ethereum has been a better producer. I mean, it's like buying silver and gold. In a bull market, silver far outperforms gold. Sure. Ethereum far outperforms Bitcoin. I think they're two different parts. You know, that when you look at Bitcoin, it's like buying Andy Warhol art. It's art. And there's a limited supply of it. So it's going to have its own DNA of growth and volatility, and Ethereum is going to become different because it's the apps, it's the backbone to the blockchain network. So they're two different parts, but they're both digital money. I think what's important for investors is that they should have about 2% in that space. Like I've always advocated 10% in gold and silver. It just shows you, look at the past decade, gold is much more stable in volatility compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin, Ethereum is the daily volatility is 6 times greater than gold. So if you're doing diversified portfolio and asset allocation, gold is a much more stable asset to recalibrate, and it's outperformed the S&P this century, the past 21 years, by 250%. So gold is not going to disappear as an asset class. The alternative asset classes, and what you're seeing more and more institutions become interested, is going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and HIVE is fortunate because we produce and hold both.
What do Bitcoin and Ethereum investors need for the price to move up? I mean, do we need another Elon Musk tweeting positive things and bullish things on Twitter? Like, why has the price been stolen? What do we need now to, get the breakout?
I think the bigger part is just the G7 cartel of finance ministers. I've spoken before that it works and functions like OPEC. They just ushered in a 15% flat tax, basically minimum tax between the G7 nations. And what does that mean? It means that it will long-term harm competition and innovation. I know that when China grew with Deng Xiaoping's vision, he created 7 tax-free zones. In San Antonio, Texas, where I live, Toyota opened a huge trucking plant here only because they got tax breaks. People are coming to Texas and to Florida from expensive states like California and New York. Why? Because there's no state income tax. So all of a sudden, this sort of socialistic model coming to the EU is very significant. And I believe there's a cloud put over alternative asset classes like gold and like crypto. And they both actually corrected almost in the same step as the dollar sort of firmed. So I think it's only a short-term phenomenon that's taking place.
Sure.
And I think that it's just wise to have buy on the dips is the rationale.
And just one more point, Frank. You brought up a very good point, which is the minimum 15% corporate tax that was brought up by the G7 recently. I wonder why stocks haven't moved down a lot on the news. You know, we're still seeing all-time highs on the NASDAQ and the Dow and the S&P 500. You would think that the stock markets would be very much allergic, so to speak, to news like this. Nobody likes higher taxes.
No, but it's not come through yet. So there's a debate for it. You know, like immediately the UK and London came out to say they want to be exempt from it. By the way, Ireland, which is basically the platform to go into the EU, it basically grew because if you look back in data 30 years ago, they created tax-free zones. They had a highly educated, multilingual, youthful population and that needed jobs to attract capital. They created a tax-free zone. So I just think it's a bit of a charade that won't last long. And I think that the stock market is showing you what happens when you have negative real interest rates. And the negative real interest rates has even grown more. So the dividend income is actually more attractive. So we still have central banks like Switzerland and Japan buying their own stocks and buying stocks that are in America.
All right, excellent. Frank, congratulations again on your listing today. Best of luck with HIVE. We'll follow up again and talk about the markets with you. Thank you very much, Frank.
Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day. Thanks, Frank. Cheers. All right. And happy Canada Day to those watching right now. Stay tuned for more. I'm David Lin.